Hello and welcome back to another Football Commentaries live stream. Club football is back once again and no international breaks until March next year. That means full focus for all teams as we head on to the very busy winter period. For City, this break was much needed as it was 4 losses in a row for Guardiola, which was the first time he'd ever done that in his career. His other worst run was also a 4-game losing streak with the Bayern Munich from April to May in 2015. But one of those losses was in a penalty shootout. But the blue side of Manchester have won 4 league titles in a row, so the players will want to put this run behind them and continue to chase Liverpool up at the top to try and make it 5 in a row. And confidence will be lifted with Guardiola signing a new 2-year deal on Thursday. Spurs have had a slow start though in the Premier League with 5 wins and 5 losses and a draw in their opening 11 games. But their last 2 losses have been to Palace and Ipswich, and for them they're both first wins of the season. Shows the inconsistency of this Spurs side. And for Postecoglou's team, they have not won away in all competitions since the 3rd of October. These two have already met this season in the League Cup last 16, where Spurs came out on top. Werner and Sarr goals made the difference that day. But the last battle here at the Etihad with both of these two teams ended in a frantic 3-3 draw with a Kulusevski 90th minute equaliser, and it had a controversial end when Grealish was stopped going through on goal after the referee Simon Hooper that day pulled back a clear advantage right at the death. It is the 5th encounter of Pep versus Ange, and who will come out on top? It's a huge 5:30 kick-off today as we return to club action. I'm absolutely delighted for it, and there is a huge presentation currently going on at the Etihad. It's of course the first home game since Rodri was announced as the Ballon d'Or winner, and there he is with the prestigious award in his 2 hands, lifting it to the Etihad faithful. It's a very, for me, deserved award. Every time I see him play, I just don't think anyone does it like him in his position. And of course, I think with football, it's very easy to put all the spotlight on the attackers because they do the scoring and the assisting. But sometimes, and to be fair, with this City side, it's quite clear when Rodri doesn't play, they struggle a lot more. And the fact they're going to be without him now pretty much for the entire season is a big blow. And we've also heard news of Mateo Kovacic as well, picking up an injury. He's going to be out for up to a month. But it's good to see Rodri there with the Ballon d'Or, just showcasing to every professional footballer at the highest level that no matter what position you play, if you play it to the best of your ability, then you can have a chance of winning that award. And, you know, Rodri, it's not like he's only done good performances individually. I mean, he's won the Premier League in 2024. Of course, he won the Euros as well this year. Came off in the final, but he was a big part of Spain getting to the final, and he did play the first half of the final against England. But there he is showing off his Ballon d'Or award. And to be fair, despite the 4 losses in a row for Manchester City, they can come into this game in a quite positive mindset. You know, celebrating that Ballon d'Or win there for Rodri, and of course Pep Guardiola signing a new 2-year deal. I'm sure the rest of the Premier League are absolutely delighted with Guardiola sticking around what will be until 2027. And you know, there was a lot of big question marks over the future of Pep Guardiola. You know, the contract was running out. There was plenty of rumours going around of talks taking place within this international break, and of course whatever was spoken about, whatever the City hierarchy said to Pep Guardiola, or whatever money they offered him, or whatever the factor was to get him to stay, they said the right things, they offered him the right deal, and they've got him to stay. And like I say, I think for Manchester City that's a huge sign of intent that they don't want to go anywhere. You know, in terms of winning these league titles, you know, Liverpool at the moment are not running away with it because it's still early on in the season, but they've got a 5-point gap at the moment. City could shrink that down to 2, of course, of a win, but Liverpool would have a game in hand, and they travel to Southampton away tomorrow. And I think City fans and Manchester City as a club will know that a rebuild will be needed pretty soon for Manchester City. A lot of their players are just starting to age slightly. You know, you've got Nathan Ake at 29, turning 30 in February. You've got Kevin De Bruyne, who's now 33, turning 34 in the summer. Jack Grealish is also 29. Edison 31. Walker 34. Stones 30. Akanji 29. Gundogan 34. Bernardo Silva's 30 as well. A lot of the team are starting to reach their 30s or are well into their 30s. And, in modern day football, you do need that good core of youth and younger players, to give you that energy needed. So, Pep Guardiola in these last 2 years he's got a big job of, making sure when he leaves he can pass over, a ready-made squad for the next manager to take charge of this club, as both teams come out of the tunnel here at the Etihad Stadium, where Manchester City look to try and get their revenge on Spurs. They only met in the League Cup a couple of about 3 weeks ago now, and Tottenham took home the bragging rights that day. Scored a 5th-minute goal through Timo Werner, then one in the 25th minute through Sarr, and then Nunez got one back for City just before half-time. But despite Manchester City trying their very hardest to get an equaliser that day, they really did push towards the end of that game. They weren't quite able to send that game into the next period. But I don't think Manchester City will mind too much about the League Cup and not winning it. They have already won it plenty of times under Pep Guardiola. They won it 4 in a row from 2017 to 2021. But this is the Premier League. It's a completely different game. It's in a completely different location as well, as we'll go through both teams now. And it is Edison to play in goal for Manchester City. And it's going to be a back four of Kyle Walker and John Stones, who returns. So does Akanji. And it'll be Josko Gvardiol at left back, who has played in every game so far in all competitions for Manchester City. 3 in midfield of Ilkay Gundogan, who's making his 199th Premier League appearance. Next to him will be Rico Lewis, who recently turned 20 this week. And also in the midfield, it will be Bernardo Silva, who did miss Portugal's last game in the international break against Croatia, but he is fit to start for Manchester City this afternoon. On the right will be Savinho, who's making his 100th professional appearance at club level. On the left-hand side will be the Premier League Player of the Year from last season, that is Phil Foden. And up front, of course, their main man, their number 9, Erling Haaland, who's already got 12 Premier League goals in his first 11 appearances in the competition this season. That includes 2 hat-tricks against Ipswich and West Ham. For Tottenham, it is Vicario in goal, making his 50th appearance in the Premier League. A back four of former City man Pedro Porro at right back. Radu Dragusin and Ben Davies partner each other at centre-back, with the left-back Adogi. 2 in the midfield behind James Maddison will be Yves Bissouma and Pape Sarr. On the right will be Dejan Kulusevski, who's scored in the last 3 games here at the Etihad in the last 3 Premier League seasons. On the left will be their captain Son Heung-min, who makes his 420th Spurs appearance. And their main summer signing, Dominic Solanke from Bournemouth, £65 million. He starts up front. He's got 4 goals so far in the Premier League, scoring against Brentford and Villa at home, and also scoring in the red side of Manchester. He did score in Tottenham's 3-0 win at Old Trafford earlier on this season. They are 2 starting 11s in the Manchester City side there. The starting 11. Former guard of honour for Rodri to walk through as he represents and shows off his Ballon d'Or one more time before kick-off this evening. It's a huge achievement from the Spaniard, and he will be heavily missed this season as he recovers from that ACL injury he picked up against Arsenal, Tottenham's North London rivals. And it is a bit of a kick in the teeth as well, that the fact that, of course, they know Rodri is long-term, but Mateo Kovacic also getting himself injured for around a month is also just another unnecessary problem for Pep Guardiola. But, this team have won plenty of Premier League titles under Guardiola. Take away their 4 in a row. Manchester City have won 6 of the last 7 and 7 of the last 10 Premier League. So, a run like they're on at the moment won't scare them, but they know that they'll need to turn it around sooner rather than later. Of course, Spurs aren't in the greatest of forms. They've only failed to score in 2 of their opening 11 league games. Tottenham, they didn't score at home to Arsenal and away to Crystal Palace. And in fact, Manchester City are the only team to have scored in every Premier League game so far this season, which I think is quite impressive. Of course, they've not won every single game, City, but they have scored in every single game. So if they can, get their defence a little bit tighter, then they might start winning more games. They've only kept 2 clean sheets this season, Manchester City, in the opening game against Chelsea, then recently at home to Southampton. So that's definitely an area for improvement, as it'll be Tottenham to kick us off, kicking right to left, City left to right here. The referee for tonight is John Brooks, born in 1990, and he's been a Premier League ref since December 2021. As it's Basuma in the midfield, already pickpocketed by Gundogan, and Foden will take it away on the right wing, chopped down by Basuma, and in the opening 14 seconds of the match, we'll have the first yellow card, and he's got no complaints. Son tries to talk to the referee, but Son Heung-min will know that was a yellow card. He gave away the ball, and he's given away the free kick and the foul, and got himself a yellow card. Just knew when Foden was getting in front of him that he had to bring him down, because Foden cutting in from the right wing onto his left foot always causes danger for opponents. It certainly did last season. Phil Foden had an unbelievable campaign, 19 Premier League goals, 27 in all competitions in 48 starts. And from around 25 yards out here, just to the right side of the 18-yard box, it's a decent angle for a cross. They've got the right foot of Gundogan and the left foot of Foden. It's a one-man Spurs wall. City have got plenty of bodies in the box. Gundogan will be the one to float it in, and it's been flicked away to the back post, and it comes off the thigh of Akanji and behind for a goal kick. Not quite sure Manuel Akanji knew too much about that, as it bounced off. I think it was his knee or thigh, one or the other, but it's gone wide, and Tottenham can play out from the back from the goal kick. Davis, straight out of play, throwing midway inside the Spurs half for Manchester City. Walker takes a throw in quickly towards Haaland, cleared by Davis. It's now Son, back to Davis in a left-back position, goes across into the 6-yard area for Vicario, who can try and lift it out to the right-hand side here towards Kulusevski. Gvardiol got there first, and it goes behind for another goal kick for the away side. It's been a quick start from Manchester City. Already got Basuma on a yellow card, as Davis goes through the middle here to Solanke. Stones following him all the way, but Solanke can find its way to the right to Porro. It's now Dragishin on that far side, forward to Sarr on the halfway, back inside to Porro. Back facing his own goal. A bit of time on the ball here for the Spaniard full-back. And it's now with Davis, the left centre-back. Played centre-back at the Etihad last season in the league, Ben Davis. And he's doing the same again tonight as Gundogan on the halfway line, forward to Haaland. He's got Savinho and Foden ahead of him. Finds Foden. Touches, gone backwards, but he plays it out wide left to Gvardiol in the area. Time to lift across to the far post. Haaland all alone, heads it across himself, and then headed away by Porro. Only as far as Bernardo Silva in the corner of the box on the left-hand side. Silva tries to cross, comes off Porro. It's now Kulusevski. Can't quite get away from Gvardiol, and it's going to be a throw-in for Manchester City. This is the start they needed. 4 losses in a row for the Blues in all competitions, and they want to try and change that as quickly as possible, as they've been forced to go all the way back to their goalkeeper here of Ederson. Came through at Sao Paulo for a couple of years before spending the majority of his youth at Benfica, where he joined from for £35 million. As on the far side, it's Bernardo Silva, goes to the halfway line here to Gvardiol, who's got Savinho down the line, and he finds the Brazilian. Gvardiol makes a run in front of him. Savinho won't use him. He'll drive inside instead. Savinho still has it, beating 2 Spurs players. It's now Lewis. Got Walker on the near side here in space in the final third. He finds the captain. Goes back here into the number 82. Rico Lewis, who was called up by Lee Carsley for the last England camp, just gone. Played 90 minutes in the away win against Greece. Rico Lewis, and City still have it in their own half here with John Stones. Finds Kyle Walker on the near side again. Wants to go forward, finds Foden in the pocket of space, who gets away from Davis, and Gvardiol's free on the left, and he's found him here. Josko Gvardiol, he's got Haaland to the right, all alone. He finds him in the box. Haaland has time and space, and he fires it wide via a deflection. And just over the 4-minute mark, Manchester City are all over Tottenham Hotspur. Gvardiol used as the outlet that time by Phil Foden, and Haaland left all alone. Ben Davis seems to be in a bit of a mess at the moment, positionally. Seems to be all over the place. He did get an important block there. Got his foot in the way to send that behind for a corner. But leaving huge gaps there, the experienced Welsh defender. Like I say, usually a left-back, Davis, but has played centre-back before. As Foden on the near side sends a left-footed in-swinging cross in towards the goalkeeper as he punches away in the box, and then hooked by Maddison into the air on the City left, where it's chested down by Bernardo Silva towards the corner flag. Gets the cross back in. But then it's Kicked away by Porro, controlled by Gundogan midway inside the Spurs half, and City can come again on the far side. Bernardo Silva sending it back towards the halfway line there to Walker, then across to Rico Lewis. Time on the ball here for the 20-year-old. Like I say, celebrated his 20th birthday in the week. As Lewis goes down, an advantage is played as Gundogan works it to Bernardo Silva on the left flank. Plenty of Spurs bodies back here as he lays it off here for Gavardio. Inside to Savinho on the edge of the 18-yard box. He goes around Basuma and lifts across him, which comes off the head of Dragishin. And it'll be another corner for Manchester City on the far side this time. Rico Lewis there brought to the ground earlier on in the move. He stayed down for a couple of moments, but he may have got back to his feet, and he has. He stands on the edge of the 18-yard box. Rico Lewis, who made his England debut a year ago now, got man of the match on his debut for England away against North Macedonia. As again, it looks like they're going to swing this in towards the goalkeeper. It's Gundogan with the corner kick duty this time around. And he puts it into the near post, headed away by Porro, controlled in the box by Maddison, who can then volley away into the City half. It's a bouncing ball for Walker to deal with. He wins the original header, keeps it away from Kulusevski, and Foden goes back to Ederson. Well defended there, because Tottenham will look to counter Manchester City in this game. There's Akanji forward to Savinho, who takes it on the turn. It's now Lewis in the centre circle, out to the right to Phil Foden. One-on-one with Udogie. Goes inside, keeps it away from the Italian, and then plays it into the centre circle again, this time for Akanji, who lifts it to the right-hand side. Good touch from Rico Lewis. Kyle Walker overlaps. Lewis goes inside instead, and plays it back to John Stones. Everyone behind the ball for Spurs. It's now Silva on the far side. Finds Gundogan, bit of time on the ball here for the German, who can put a ball in the box for the run of Kyle Walker. And he can't quite meet it, the former Spurs player. Goes behind for a goal kick, but an adventurous run there by Kyle Walker, who spent 7 years of his career at Spurs, racked up 229 appearances for today's opposition. He's never scored against them since leaving the club. That's Rico Lewis battling hard with Son Heung-min, and that'll be a free kick for Tottenham. Bit too aggressive there, Rico Lewis. It's in the 18-yard box with Vicario. Going to the left centre-back of Ben Davies. Looking to go forward here. Plays a high ball inside, and he gets it across the right flank to Sarr. It's a well-found ball there, and he plays it to Kulusevski, and the offside flag goes up. They pushed up really well there, Manchester City, at the final moment. They had to get it right. I wouldn't exactly say it was a bad run from Kulusevski. I think it was just a really smart defensive line there from Manchester City. As the Blues have themselves on the ball in their own half. Won the last meeting between these two in the Premier League. It was in game week 37. City won 2-0, 2 Haaland goals. You might remember that Stefan Ortega save on Son Heung-min in the 86th minute when the game was at 1-0. Probably one of the biggest saves in Premier League history, that, in terms of the way it pretty much swung the title in Manchester City's favour. But Spurs did win the last meeting in that League Cup as Akanji takes on Kulusevski. Then out to the left, the space for Bernardo Silva. Going in towards the final third. Not much support in front of him. So has to go back to Ilkay Gundogan, who's looking for a run. Off Foden, who's found himself in the box, but it's a head away from Davis. Reaches Gavardio, can't quite get it inside to Haaland. Dealt with by Porro. Low ball down the right-hand side to Kulusevski, who's been fouled there by Bernardo Silva. And that'll be a free kick for Tottenham. 8.5 minutes in here at the Etihad. It's still 0-0, but it's been all Manchester City so far, who've only won 5 of their last 10 against Spurs. It's not exactly an opponent they enjoy facing, Manchester City. Tottenham have won 11 games away from home against City in the Premier League, but just one in their last 8, which was in the Premier League, which was in February 2022. But Tottenham have scored 2 or more goals in their last 3 visits here. They won 3-2 in that February 2022 game. They then lost 4-2 the season after, and the season just gone that they drew 3-3, so they can score here, Tottenham. It's just usually keeping it out of their own net, which they struggle with here, but a lot of teams do, is City play out from the back, in the right-back position in the defensive third with Walker. Foden wanting a 1-2 with Lewis. Cut out, though, by Basuma. Udogie works it to Son Heung-min, just outside the box on the left-hand side. He gets a cross in, it goes all the way through. Just avoids Kulusevski, and it'll run through for Gavardio at left-back. Scored in the international break, the Croatian, against Portugal. Came off the bench at half-time in the League Cup game against Spurs earlier on in the season. The 22-year-old, former Leipzig defender. This was John Stones at right centre-back. Returns today for Manchester City. He's got 2 goals in the Premier League so far this season, John Stones, and they both came very late on, in the 98th minute against Arsenal and the 95th minute against Wolves. Did miss the last 3 games for Manchester City, John Stones, and was ruled out of the most recent international break just gone. Never scored, though, against Spurs, John Stones, and he hadn't played any minutes against them in the last 3 when City had played Tottenham in the Premier League. Did start that League Cup game, John Stones, where City lost 2-1 as he takes the free kick hit, switched out to the left. It's a high ball brought down by Gvardiol on halfway, plays it into the number 20 Bernardo Silva. Just the 1 goal so far this season for him, and that came in the Community Shield final against United. Great turn from Savinho, who got the ball from Gvardiol in the box, squares it. Haaland! It's a great save with the feet of Vicario, and Dragishin plays it down to Porro, down the line, down the right side to Sarr. Spurs survive. Haaland comes close. Throw in for Spurs. Pass from Sarr comes off Gundogan. Very quick finish there from Haaland. It was a good reaction save from Vicario. Gvardiol gave it to Savinho, who was able to spin and get away from the Tottenham defence. And as he played it across, it was Haaland with the left-footed finish towards the bottom left corner. And Vicario, with his outstretched right boot, was able to stop it hitting the back of the net. As he's got 75 goals in the league, Haaland, in 77 appearances. Absolutely ridiculous. Did win Player of the Month for the month of August of this year as well. The Norwegian striker, who did score 4 goals in the international break, Erling Haaland, and there was a hat-trick against Kazakhstan. Just less than 12 minutes play, still 0-0, but it's been all Manchester City. First real big chance just passed with Erling Haaland getting his shot saved from the Italian Vicario, who was never kept a clean sheet against Manchester City, the Italian. Foden on halfway. Loses out to Basuma, who reads the play well. Maddison. Sarr. It's now Basuma, about 10 yards inside the City half, goes back into his own half here with Dragishin. Across to Davis. Udogie. Got Rico Lewis in front of him, decides to go back to Ben Davis. Making his 298th appearance in the Premier League, the Welshman, as Dragishin goes over the top and down the right-hand side. Gvardiol will chase, so will Kulusevski. Kulusevski beats him to it. It's now the Swedish international on the ball. Outside the box, he puts the ball in. It's a great ball to Maddison, who volleys it home. Brilliant assist from Dejan Kulusevski. And an even more precise finish from James Maddison. Gets himself back into the starting 11 for Spurs. And he's got his 4th goal of the season in the league. He had come off the bench in the last 2 games for Tottenham. But Postecoglou puts him back in, and he repays him by scoring the opening goal in this game. It's been all Manchester City, but the first real sight at goal for Spurs, and they make the most of it. Kulusevski beating Gvardiol to it on the right wing. He cut inside onto his left foot, and he just floated the ball to the far post. Maddison ran off the back of Stones, and about 6 yards out, he just had to calmly place that ball into the back of the net with his weaker left foot. Ederson with no chance. City are struggling defensively this season. It's another game without a clean sheet, and it's another game where they trail. They're currently on 4 losses in a row. They don't want to make it 5, and at the minute they do fall behind to Spurs once again. It's Manchester City 0, Spurs 1. Everything about the goal, though, was brilliant. That delivery from Kulusevski was absolutely unbelievable. And then you just never felt like Maddison was going to miss. He just seemed calm, latching onto that cross and finishing with his weaker left foot. And that's his 3rd goal against City in his career. Maddison, they've all come at the Etihad. In high-scoring games as well. He scored when Leicester won here 5-2 in the 2020-2021 season. Then he scored here the season after when he came here with Leicester and they lost 6-3. But despite it being all Manchester City, it's Spurs who are on top at the moment. Akanji, big switch out to the right. Walker will try and get there, and he will in the final third towards the corner flag. Rather isolated. Plays it inside here to Foden. Loses out to Basuma, who then can work it to Son Heung-min. On the edge of the box, he tries to play it across to Maddison, deflects off Haaland to Udogie. On the halfway line, he enters the City half here. They're backing off him. Udogie plays a ball looking for Kulusevski, but it's met by Gvardiol first with a back heel away. And now Akanji works it to the left to Bernardo Silva. Into the middle to Akanji on halfway. Back out to Bernardo Silva, then into the centre circle now for Gundogan. Lewis. Wanted to go forward, but goes to Akanji instead. Out wide to Gavardio. Savinho again making a run. Gavardio puts it inside instead for Foden. Touch into the box and a shot towards goal. And it goes over the bar. About 12 yards out or so. Always seemed like he was stretching and leaning a bit there, Foden. Hence why it went over the crossbar there. Let's have a look. Got his left foot to it. Yeah, just rushed it. Not too far away. City showing signs they can score. But again, at the other end, it does seem a little bit too easy to score against at the moment. As Bernardo Silva, sloppy pass, gives it straight to Son Heung-min in the Tottenham half, and the away side can build from the back once again. Of course, Spurs coming into this game after the international break, after losing against Ipswich at home. Sammy Szmodics and Liam Delap, former City striker, with the two first half goals. Bentancur got one back in the second half, but wasn't enough for Tottenham. Maddison gets the ball in between the lines for Solanke, who does slip, but regains his footing and gets back up and plays it out to the left wing to Son. Running at Kyle Walker in the final third, left-footed. Early ball again! It's an inviting one. Kulusevski can't meet it. He will chase it down, though, here, Kulusevski, and he outmuscles Savinho and shields it at the corner flag and plays it back to Porro. Spurs want a second hit. Basuma in the central area, about 35 yards out. Goes to his left to Maddison. Out wide once more to Udogie. Forward to Son. Udogie makes a run forward. Son doesn't use him. Goes back to Maddison instead. Udogie to Son. Back to Maddison, who keeps it on this near side. And then to the halfway line it goes here to Ben Davies. Quickly goes to his right to his centre-back partner, Dragusin. He's making his 100th professional club appearance of his career. Only 22 years of age, the Romanian international. Maddison down the line for Son. Back into Maddison on this near side. Just inside his own half here, the number 10. Maddison wants more movement as he goes back to Davis. Not being pressed at the moment here, the Spurs number 33. Solanke dropping deep for the ball. Playing out wide left to Son. First time ball forward. It deflects through towards Kulusevski. And Stones puts a foot in. Does drop to Kulusevski in the end. Works it away from Gundogan. It's now back on the halfway line here with Dragusin. Out to the right-hand side for Tottenham. Bit of room and space here for Porro, who will go for that cross towards Solanke. Headed away by Stones. Flicked away by Bernardo Silva. Headed back forward by Basuma. Cleared again by Gavardio. Headed in the air by Porro. Messy stuff here for Manchester City. Controlled in the end by Basuma, who can work it to Udogie. It's now Son. Onto his right foot. Edge of the box. He's going to try and wrap it towards the top right corner. And it needed to be saved by Ederson. Tottenham now on top after taking the lead around 5 minutes ago. Son testing Ederson there. He loves a goal against Manchester City. Son Heung-min. He scored against them 8 times previously. Once last season he actually gave Tottenham the lead in the 3-3 draw here last season in the 6th minute. And he's won his team a corner, but he almost got them another goal. Just over 18 minutes in here at the Etihad. It's Manchester City 0, Tottenham Hotspur 1. James Maddison with the opener. Left-footed volley. Around 6 yards out. Really well-worked goal. In-swinger from Kulusevski towards the far post. Ederson flaps at it. No touch according to the referee. And it'll be a goal kick as Ederson wants the ball as quickly as possible. As Manchester City started really well, have conceded, and then Tottenham have gotten a bit of confidence from that, and they've started to get themselves some possession in the game. First meeting between these two ever was 115 years ago. It was a 4-3 win for Spurs away from home in the first round of the FA Cup. Spurs only went as far as the third round, knocked out by Burnley that year. Gundogan can't be found by Gavardio, giving away on the edge of the box to Maddison. Huge chance. It's now Son in the box on his right foot. Plays it back through for Maddison, who can lift it over Ederson. And Spurs double their lead. Maddison has scored both. Both of them with his left foot. And City are stunned again. And Maddison is proving his point to Ange Postecoglou that he should never be on the bench. He should always be starting for Spurs. And he has tonight. And he's already scored twice in the opening 20 minutes. That was more down to a poor City giveaway. But Spurs capitalised it capitalised on it in the best way possible. Gvardiol, left back, tried to play it in the middle to Gundogan, nowhere near him. Fell through for Maddison, who played it to Son, who got himself in the box in a central area. Maddison ran around him. Son was able to find his run. Edison's come flying out. But again, composure, the main component of the goal. Maddison, calm as you like, saw Edison coming. And with his left foot, again, similar area where he volleyed it in. Pretty much the same place. Instead of a volley, that time it was just a little dinked, lifted finish over the Brazilian. And Spurs, after the last 8 minutes, have a really deserved 2-goal lead. They've been frightening, this Manchester City defence, and very clinical. And despite a new Guardiola contract and the celebrations of the Rodri Ballon d'Or, it hasn't seen any improvements on the pitch for Manchester City. They trail at home. It's Manchester City 0, Tottenham Hotspur 2. Maddison with both. And both really good finishes. City look to try and respond with Savinho's ball down the line into space for Lewis, who will chase it down. Son will get there first in the left-back position and plays it across there to Basuma. Deflects off him and out of play for a throw-in for Manchester City in the final third on the near side. And for the 4th time in a row, Spurs have scored twice or more away at Manchester City. They are the first team to ever do that. No other team has ever scored twice or more at City away from home in 4 consecutive Premier League visits. Very impressive. They just know how to score here. And Ange Postecoglou will be delighted, but he'll also probably be frustrated because he's got to look at it and go, how are we losing to Ipswich, but then beating Manchester City? You know, they've already beat them once this season as well in the League Cup. Haaland sees the ball from Gundogan. It's now Savinho. Edge of the box, into the box for Gvardiol. Low ball for Haaland, and again over the bar. City have had chances, but a lot of them have gone over the crossbar. Haaland has had one on target, saved by the right boot of Vicario, but a lot of the chances, Foden sent one over the bar. Now Haaland has. City are creating, but not working Vicario hard enough at the moment. And, you know, Manchester City have difficult games coming up in the Premier League. They've got Liverpool away next, then Forest at home, who are having a decent start to the season. I know they lost today to Arsenal, but then again in the Premier League at home, they've got Forest on the 4th of December, then they welcome Manchester United in the 15th, and then they finish on Boxing Day at home to Everton. So this run of form needs to start turning itself around here. Could be 5 losses on the bounce for the Blues. As it's Spurs with the ball on the far side. It's with Kulusevski, who assisted the first James Maddison goal. Dragishin goes down over the challenger Haaland. It's a free kick that's gone against him. And it'll be a free kick for Spurs, who've only won 2 of their last 11 away games in the Premier League, drawing 2 of the others and losing 7, as that's an awful crossfield ball there for Spurs by Porro, but he's got away with it as Gundogan's tackled by Sarr, and he can poke it out to the left here to Udogie on halfway. Son's got the run around him, but he'll go back to the halfway line to Sarr instead. It's now in the halfway. It's now on the centre circle with Maddison, back into Basuma, who picks up a yellow card in the 14th minute of this game. Siphoning down Phil Foden. And Dragishin. Back it goes to Vicario, who's just on the edge of the 18-yard box here for Tottenham in his all yellow kit. He's now out to this near side to Maddison on his 28th birthday. He has got 2 huge goals. Great ball, though, there from Basuma to find Udogie in between the lines. It's now out to the left to Son, who's again one-on-one with Walker, running at the 34-year-old and goes on the outside of him and puts a cross in, which has to be dealt with at the near post by Akanji. He's not the easiest winger to face, Son Heung-min, and Walker has been at times criticised this season for maybe losing that little bit of pace and just losing that bit of quality in his defensive one-on-one work. And Tottenham, since we've ticked over the 10th minute, have been all over Manchester City. 24 minutes in, still 2-0 to the away side. It's a corner on this near side. It'll be taken by the right boot of James Maddison, who's already scored twice tonight. Left arm up in the air. Delivery into the box to the far post. It's punched away by Edison. It'll be chased back there, and it's back with Tottenham here with Porro. Finds his partner in crime on that right flank of Kulusevski onto his left foot. Allowed to cross from Gvardiol. Headed away by Haaland. Helped on by Bernardo Silva. Headed back out wide by Davis. Header away in the left-back position by Gvardiol. Chested down by Basuma. Keeps it away from Foden. Kept in by Porro. Inside it goes towards Solanke. Controls beautifully. Back heels towards Kulusevski. Cut out on the edge of the box by Stones. And City have it back with Gundogan. Something needs to flip here for Manchester City. Something needs to change. Because if they lose tonight and Liverpool win tomorrow, they will be 8 points off Arne Slot's team. City just in their own half at the moment. On this right-hand side with Lewis. Finds Gundogan in a bit of space. Turns away from Solanke. And pokes it through to the left centre-back here of Manuel Akanji. Now further out wide it goes here to Gvardiol, who's in the Spurs half. Savino's making that run again down the line. Doesn't use him this time around. Finds Bernardo Silva in a more central area. It's now Gundogan. Everyone behind the ball for Spurs. Number 5, John Stones. Furthest wide's Walker and he finds him. He tries to curl it in behind here for Haaland, who can't quite control it. It's loose in the box where it's cleared by Porro on this penalty spot. And it's a header won by Lewis. Stones. Silva. Akanji forward to Gundogan. Laid off to Silva, and that's well won back there by Manchester City. Gvardiol getting forward on the left-hand side, about midway inside the Spurs half. Wraps it into the box for Foden, who takes a touch brilliantly and then shoots towards goal. Can't quite direct it on target. As it took a deflection, I'm not too sure. Davis was following Foden all the way as it was lifted in the box to number 47. And yeah, don't think he took any touch there. It'll be a goal kick for Spurs. It's with Vicario, who's got the ball rolling. Finds Maddison in a left-back position here, being closed down by Rico Lewis. He's now in the 18-yard box here. Maddison needs to be careful. He'll be full of confidence after his brace already today. It's now Davis. Low ball down the line for Son Heung-min. Then back to Maddison again towards the corner flag now. Lifts it to Davis. Almost dispossessed by Gundogan. He probably should have been, but he wasn't. And Spurs work it from left to right now. It's Pedro Porro. He's got Kulusevski to his right and he'll find him. Spurs have got bodies over here. Kulusevski running at Gvardiol. Into the 18-yard box, goes on the outside of him, low ball in towards Son, it's cleared though by Walker, and it goes through into the Tottenham half here for Dragishin, and again, Tottenham come close. Manchester City's worst ever run is 6 losses in a row, and that was under Stuart Pearce. They did lose 6 in a row, and the 5th defeat was against Spurs. Their 5th defeat today could be also against Spurs, of course, so they have been in this territory before, Manchester City, just not for a very long time, especially under Pep Guardiola, who's taken charge of his 491st game in charge. He's only lost 70 of the previous 490, which, you know, is absolutely incredible. There's Maddison on the halfway line on this near side. Puts it into the path of Son. Kulusevski making a run. So's Porro all alone. But he'll go to the left instead to Solanke. Outmuscles Walker and then sends the shot towards goal. And it's blazed over the bar after it came off the glove of Edison. And it'll be a corner. Son almost had too many options there. He had Kulusevski down the middle, Porro free on the right. He decided to go for the reverse ball instead to Solanke, who was able to outmuscle Walker, and the shot towards goal must have just come off the fingertips of Edison. And it did. Well seen by the referee there, John Brooks. And there'll be another corner here. Tottenham enjoying themselves at the Etihad, and not for the first time. They go to the edge of the area here to Porro. Works it back out wide to Kulusevski. 1-on-1 with Savino. Onto his left foot. Ball goes in. Header away by Haaland. Reaches. Udogie. It's now Porro again on the Tottenham right. Restarts again. Just in front of the centre circle here with Udogie. Now out to the left-hand side to Son. Lewis getting close. Forcing him back to Udogie. It's now Basuma. Forward to Maddison. Relays it to Basuma. Tottenham playing it around nicely here. Out to the near side to Son. This time he's 1-on-1 with Gvardiol, who's at right back this time. Back into Sarr, about midway inside the Manchester City half. It's now with Udogie. Across the pitch it goes, but it's a short ball straight to Savino. 3v2 here. Haaland's on his bike already. He's been found by Savino. No, he hasn't. It's just slipped behind him. And that's a huge let-off for Tottenham Hotspur. Really lazy ball there by Udogie, and he was almost punished in the end. Vicario to the left centre-back of Ben Davis, who will play it down the line. It's a great ball. Solanke finding a lot of good space here for Spurs, but he can't quite keep the ball away from Lewis. It's gone against him. I don't think that was a foul. I think he's got away with that there, Dominic Solanke. Rico Lewis not happy with the decision. Maddison. Cut out by Gundogan. It's now to Lewis. Gets in front of Maddison. Plays it to his left to Foden. On once more now to Gvardiol, just outside the 18-yard box. Puts a cross into Savinho, who heads it towards goal. Brilliant save, Vicario. Flags up anyway. Just ticked over the half-an-hour mark. Brilliant save from Vicario. But Savinho did look offside. The Tottenham line pushed up quickly. Good ball, though, from Gvardiol. And they just stepped up really well. Both Haaland and Savinho was offside. It's a good save from Vicario. The Savinho header firing towards the near post. It'll be a nice little confidence-boosting save there for the Italian, who was on the end of an own goal in the international break. A Digne free kick came off the post and bounced off Vicario's backing in as he started for Italy in the recent games for them in the international break. Played the full 90 against France. Guillermo Vicario. That's his Gundogan. Driving forward for City into the Spurs half. He's going down the left-hand side, so he's got Gvardiol outside of him, and he'll find Gvardiol. Back into Gundogan on the angle. Keeping it away from Sarr. Gvardiol again. Back into Bernardo Silva. Gets in front of Kulusevski. Space out wide here for Walker. Found by Lewis. Kyle Walker. Back into John Stones. Goes to his centre-back partner here of Akanji. Out wide left to Gvardiol. Running at Porro. Doesn't fancy taking him on, so goes back here into Gundogan. Back out to Gvardiol again. Lifts it into the box towards Haaland. Flicked away to the far post here to Walker, who's alone in the corner of the box. Takes his time. Squares it to his left to Lewis. Back out to Walker, who thinks about the cross. Can't take on a Dogi. Both go to the ground. And they've won the free kick there. Kyle Walker brought down by a Dogi. Seemed a bit soft. Looks like Kyle Walker was looking for it a little bit because he was running out of options rapidly there. City's number 2. It's definitely on angle for a cross here. It's about 10 yards in front of the... Well, about 6 yards in front of the corner flag. Just a bit to the left. So it's a pretty decent angle for a cross here, which will be put in by Phil Foden. And every time they put a cross in, they've tried to test Vicario, because he can be quite weak sometimes from crosses into the box. The 6'4" goalkeeper. Foden. Into the box it goes, all the way to the far post, and Savinho was all alone, but he couldn't control it. And it's a goal kick, 32.5 minutes in here at the Etihad. It's City 0, Tottenham 2. 2 goals so far from James Maddison on his 28th birthday. He's making the difference. Long by Davis, up towards Solanke. Dealt with by John Stones on halfway. It's now Gundogan, being chased down by Maddison, and has to go back to Akanji. 2 former Dortmund players. Akanji and Gundogan. It's now with Ederson in the 18-yard box here for Manchester City. Goes to the left to Bernardo Silva. It's now Akanji on the edge of the 18-yard box. And across it goes to number 5, John Stones. Born in Barnsley. Came through their academy. Spent 12 years at the club. Looking for his 20th Manchester City goal. Joined back in 2016 for £47.5 million from Everton. City just trying to beat this Tottenham press if they can. They've just kept the ball in their own half, but they'll now advance forward with Akanji on the ball into the Tottenham half. It's Gvardiol on the far side. Back it goes into Akanji. Just over 11 minutes left to play of this first half. Tottenham still have a 2-goal lead. It's Walker on this right-hand side. On his own, really. Goes back to John Stones. It's now Bernardo Silva in the centre circle. Lifted ball out to the left to Gvardiol, who will chase it. And he'll control it with a touch inside to Savinho. Edge of the area, on his left foot. Trying to take on Porro. Into the box. Savinho. Back he goes into Gvardiol. It's now Savinho again. Running at Porro still. Twisting and turning. Still on the edge of the box here, Savinho. Finds Bernardo Silva. It's now Stones. Walker. One-on-one with Dogi on the right-hand side. Goes against the cross and finds Lewis. Foden. Walker again. Foden trying to go to the edge of the box there towards Gundogan, cut out though by Maddison. Ball played forward now to Kulusevski. He's got 2 City players around him, but he miscontrols it. Out of play. Throw in for Manchester City. Throw in's taken quickly. 10 minutes to go. Bernardo Silva. Again, Walker's got space, but they're allowing him space because when Walker gets out wide, he's not exactly doing much with it. Taking his time with the ball. Gundogan in the centre circle. Everyone behind the ball for Spurs. In between the lines for Savinho. Poor touch again. Tackle by Sarr. He will drive away with it for Tottenham on the right-hand side. Gets he through the legs of Gvardiol to Solanke. But can't get it away from Gundogan. Last touch off the striker, and that's going to be a City throw-in. Well, won there by the number 19, Ilkay Gundogan. Who returned this summer on a free from Barcelona. Was the number 8 before. Now he's took the number 19. It's now Gvardiol on the left in the final third again. Couple of City players in the box, but no interest in crossing it yet. Savinho. Just drifting inside into a bit more of a central area. Finds Haaland. Touched it first time for Gundogan. Then Haaland again. Loose ball. Savinho with the strike on the edge of the box. And it's an easy save down low to Vicario's right. Met it well though there, Savinho. Still looking for his first Manchester City goal. Making his 13th start out of the 19 that City have played now in all competitions. Still 2-0 to Spurs, just over the 36-minute mark. It's crazy to think, but this is just Spurs' 5th season now, full season, sorry, without Mauricio Pochettino. The last highest finish was 3rd place in the 17-18 season, and that was under Mauricio Pochettino. City now have it with Gundogan out to the right to Walker on halfway, facing his own goal and working the pass there to Stones. Manchester City's last win now is on the 26th of October, almost a month away. I know we've had an international break in that. Porro's header back towards the goalkeeper's short, and he just about beats Savinho to it. Vicario goes down as him and Savinho collided. But it was a ball forward there by Manchester City, and Porro's gone for the header back towards his goalkeeper. Stones with the ball in behind. And Porro's header is a little short towards Vicario, but the Italian just beat Savinho to it. And they both slightly collided, but it'll be nothing serious. Vicario, I'm sure, will be absolutely fine to continue. That's Manchester City. They've got big questions to answer in this game. Davis to Son. Round the corner first time up towards Solanke. Headed away by Stones. Gundogan. Ball was a bit short to Savinho, who's ended up fouling Sarr in the centre circle. And that'll be a free kick for Spurs. And you can just see the frustration really starting to build now in the Etihad, especially with the players on the pitch at the moment. Didn't seem very happy there, Savinho, who started twice for Brazil during the international break just gone. Davis, back it goes to Vicario, who sat on the edge of the 18-yard box. Now to the left to Davis. Spinning and looking forward, playing it down the line to Maddison. Back heels it towards Udogie, who beats Gundogan to it and kicks it off him. Throw in for Spurs, midway inside their own half. On this near side, it's been a brilliant start for Spurs, and their games do continue to be a challenge. They've got Roma next at home in the Europa League, then they've got to host Fulham on the 1st of December, then travel away to Bournemouth, which is never easy. As Vicario's gone down, holding his right foot here after that collision with Savinho a couple of minutes ago. It looks like he's holding his shin, if anything, there. As on his 28th birthday. Maddison's got 2 goals. And he's now got 52 in his Premier League career. Both really well taken with his left foot. So a little bit of a break here as Vaccaro receives treatment. They do have Fraser Forster on the bench if he is required to come off. And Manchester City do have a couple of more senior players returning to their bench. Ake is named as one. They've of course got Kevin De Bruyne, who did miss the international break. But he did come on off the bench against Brighton in Manchester City's last league game before that international break. Grealish as well returns. He's missed the last 6 Manchester City games with injury. Yeah, Porro with the short header back. Vaccaro came in. It just looks like there was a bit of a collision with knees, if anything. As Vaccaro is going to be continuing for now. And Spurs can take that throw in with Udogie. Down the line towards Solanke. Headed forward by Maddison, then by Stones. Needs to be dealt with here by Davis, and he can send that deep into the Manchester City half, where on his own, Akanji can deal with it. It's now Bernardo Silva being pressed here by Sarr, and he's been pickpocketed by Sarr. Ball deflects to Kulusevski. 1-2 with Sarr. Kulusevski in the box. Almost slips, but keeps his foot in, lays it off. Basuma from afar will shoot. And again over the crossbar. But Manchester City in that midfield area are really struggling badly. Bernardo Silva that time with the giveaway. And Tottenham almost profited in 100% capacity. But it was Basuma from around 25 yards out with the shot. Not quite able to get it on target. Walker. Nice little flick to Foden, who can't quite beat Ben Davis, who can clear it away. And the advantage has been played. Sarr controls it on the edge of the box brilliantly. Kulusevski onto his left foot, slips it through. Son chops inside, but then tackled by Walker. And is now with the right back on this near side. Clears it forward, high ball up towards Haaland. Heads it down brilliantly to Savinho on the right wing. Surrounded by Spurs shirts, but he nutmegs Basuma. And he gets away from Maddison. Savinho going all alone. His shot deflects, but straight to Foden. Clips it to Bernardo Silva in the box, left-hand side. Fakes the first cross. Lays it off for Gvardiol. Low ball in. Lifts itself to the edge of the area. Headed by Son. Drops to Walker. Attack still alive for City. Gundogan. Gvardiol. Hesitates. Then lays it off for Silva, who lifts it to the far post. Haaland wins the header. And then another header by Davis. Cleared not convincingly. Walker to Gundogan on the edge of the area, just to the right-hand side. Goes across to his left to Stones. Now Akanji. Out to the left flank now to Gvardiol. Through for Silva. Crosses in. Foden with the volley, and again over the bar. Plenty of Manchester City shots in this first half have gone over the crossbar. And that's another to add to the tally. Decent little run down the left flank by Silva. Not a bad ball in as well. It missed the header from Ben Davis. And Foden went for a bit of an acrobatic, sort of overhead kick-style finish, but didn't quite catch it correctly. And Tottenham have a goal kick, which they play to the edge of the area here to Maddison. Now to the left-back, Destiny Udogie. Son to Udogie. Gets away from Rico Lewis, and he's running at John Stones. Udogie, head up. He's looking left and right. Goes to his left to Son. Just outside the box at the moment. Got Walker in front of him. Tries to nutmeg him. Deflects off him, but still with Son. His second pass also deflects off Lewis. And now with Foden. Gundogan. City need to move it quickly now as we edge towards the half-time break. Gundogan sets Gvardiol on his way. He puts it into space. Gvardiol foot race with Dragishin. And Dragishin can get across and tackle and kick it behind for a corner. Can Manchester City pull one back before the break from a set piece? It's going to be an in-swinger from the far side, I think, by Gvardiol. It's going to be Ilkay Gundogan with the cross into the box. In it goes, near post, flicked on by Akanji. And again, it's high. And away for a goal kick. And it does look like Spurs are going to go in at half-time with the 2-goal lead. And if they do score one more goal in this game, Tottenham, it'll be their 100th goal under Ange Postecoglou in the Premier League, and this is his 50th game in charge of a Premier League match for Tottenham. Ange Postecoglou, in the previous 49 Premier League games, they've won 25 and lost 17, so again, just highlighting that inconsistency that Tottenham have had under Postecoglou, despite finishing 5th last season. We've hit the 45th minute. I'm assuming we'll get a minute or two added on, possibly. At the end of the half, Dragishin lifts it down the right, straight to Kulusevski. Great touch. Kanji wants to take it off him, but he can work it to Maddison. Then on once more to the left to Udogie, who breaks into the City half, and then into space for Son. 3 minutes added on at the Etihad. Son running at Walker again. Through for Kulusevski, who's joined him on this left-hand side. Back into Son. Edge of the box. Thought about the shot. Goes back instead to Maddison. Now Kulusevski. Running towards the corner flag. Kicks it off Stones. And I believe that'll be a throw-in for Tottenham. Right next to that corner flag. Almost a corner one. So Udogie with the throw-in the final third. We've played a minute of the 3 added on. Udogie to Solanke. Keeps it away from Lewis. Maddison. Battling. Going down. It's Messi. And it's going to be a free kick for Tottenham. Maddison chopped down by Kyle Walker, who's visibly frustrated. And I'd love to be a fly on the wall in that Manchester City dressing room. There's going to be some fair words said, as this is 5 games in a row they could be being beat. This is unprecedented for Manchester City, especially under Pep Guardiola. Of course, they've got players missing. Diaz is out at the moment with a calf problem. Doku injured, Rodri out, Bob out, Kovacic out as well. Grealish just returning, so is De Bruyne as well. Maddison takes it short, the free kick. Son. Just in front of the centre circle now to Udogie, who goes all the way back to Vicario. A bit of a waste there for Tottenham, with a minute left of until half-time. Porro plays inside to Basuma. And in behind for Kulusevski, who's offside. Quite clear to see. Flag straight up on the far side. Good refereeing there by the assistant referee on that far side. Bernardo Silva. Can City pull one back? Charging down the left flank. Chops away behind him for Kulusevski. That's brilliant. It's now with Gundogan. Running out of time here. Gundogan plays it back in space for Bernardo Silva. Dinks a ball into the box. Headed away by Udogie. Headed down by Son, but straight to Savinho. Can't work it out wide to Walker. It's now with Son again. Intercepted by Rico Lewis. Then down the line for Savinho. In the final third. Savinho onto his left foot. Delivers a ball in. It's a teasing one, but it's straight into the 2 gloves of Vicario. And the referee will then blow for half-time. It's Manchester City 0, Tottenham Hotspur 2. Manchester City came out firing the opening 10 minutes. They had a really good start. Had Tottenham on the back foot. But as soon as the clock ticked over 10, something clicked for Tottenham Hotspur and they really started to play. Their first goal came in the 13th minute of the match. Kulusevski out-muscling Gvardiol on the Tottenham right, cutting onto his left foot and delivering a ball into the back post where Maddison arrived late and got a left-footed volley into the near post to give Tottenham Hotspur a lead. And they doubled their lead through Maddison again, the birthday boy, turning 28. Another left-footed finish. This time it was a giveaway by Gvardiol, looking for Gundogan, didn't find him. Maddison picked it up on the edge of the box, found Son, made a run around him. Son replayed it to him, and again, pretty much in the same spot he scored the first goal. He lifted it this time over Ederson with his left foot again to give Tottenham a 2-goal lead. And despite City having a lot of shots, it's definitely looked like Tottenham have been the better side. In the possession they've had, they've looked calmer, they've looked more in control. And for all the shots Manchester City have had, they've had 10 altogether. Not many of them have really tested Vicario. It's a big second 45 minutes coming up for Manchester City and Guardiola. Will they be able to turn it around? We'll have to wait and see. But at the moment, at half-time at the Etihad Stadium, it is Manchester City 0, Tottenham Hotspur 2. Could be 5 on the bounce. For Pep Guardiola and Manchester City, it's not looking good at all. It is not looking good. Anyway, I'm going to go for half-time, have a 15-minute break. So come back in 15 minutes, as I'll be bringing live second half commentary of this game at the Etihad. As at half time, it is City 0, Tottenham 2. Hello, welcome back to the Football Commentaries live stream of Manchester City against Spurs in the Premier League. And Spurs are 2-0 up at half-time. They like coming here and they like scoring goals. Like I say, they're the first ever team in the Premier League to score twice or more against Manchester City 4 games in a row. And they've done it again, and this time they're leading, they're not conceding. Well, I think what's most impressive about this Tottenham performance in the first half is not just their bravery and, you know, their clinicalness, especially with James Maddison, who scored both goals, but, you know, they're missing 2 of their best players, you could argue. You know, they've got Christian Romero out at the moment, who looks like he's going to be out for a little bit of time. Van der Ven's going to be a couple of weeks. You know, Romero and Van der Ven have been Spurs' main 2 centre-backs. So when you have to change that, it can be difficult. You know, Ben Davies is a natural left-back, and Radu Dragićin hasn't exactly had the most exciting starts to his Spurs career, you know, sent off this season in the Europa League against Karabakh. And, you know, it was the same last season. When Spurs came here last season, they had a back 4 of Porro at right back, Emerson Royal was right centre-back, Ben Davies was left centre-back, and Udogie was left-back. So it's not like it's the first time they've come here and had to play an unorthodox back 4, but it doesn't mean it's not as equally as impressive when they have to play someone a little bit out of position and it work. It's seriously, you know, it's impressive, and it, you know, shows the Postecoglou in the faith he has in his players to play those positions. You know, when you miss a certain play, you might think, do we change the shape slightly to make it a bit more comfortable for the players we've got? But he sticks to his principles, and players have to adapt and play where they are told. And like I say, Ben Davies is doing a brilliant job again at the moment at playing left centre-back. And what I like about Tottenham, and I commentated on the 3-3 draw between these two last season at the Etihad, it was not just their bravery in their pressing and going after City, it's their playing out from the back. Very risky playing out from the back, but more often than not in this game, it's worked. They've been able to beat the Manchester City press. I think the only, not the only, but one of the many questions that I'm sure everyone will be thinking right now is, will City make any changes? Will they introduce De Bruyne or a Grealish? You know, they're the 2 main players who have got real quality. Of course, they've got Matheus Nunes as well, who's hit a bit of form for Manchester City. He scored 3 goals this season, twice in the League Cup, 1 against Watford and 1 against Spurs. And for Nunes as well, the Portuguese midfielder, he had started the last 3 in the league, but he was out for the international break. So, you know, he'll be slightly frustrated he's not got back in the team. But we'll have to just wait and see, as the second half will be getting underway now in a couple of minutes' time. It's got to be a huge second half, as of course there is going to be Manchester City players warming up, but that doesn't mean they're going to be coming on at half-time. But the questions have got to be asked. Like I say, City are the only team left in the Premier League to have scored in every game so far. And they definitely need to score more than 1 today if they want anything from the game. And for Spurs, it's more of the same. They've got decent depth as well on the bench. I've seen better, but they've got the likes of Archie Gray, who I really like. They brought him in from Leeds for £30 to £40 million. He was playing mainly for Leeds as a central midfielder, but he can play right back, and that's where he's played for Tottenham in the majority of the games he's played. They've also got Brennan Johnson as well, who's had a brilliant season, 7 goals altogether. He went on that run in October and November, where he scored 6 in a row in all competitions, scored in 6 games in a row. Of course, Timo Werner as well, who scored his first ever goal against City in that League Cup win about 3 weeks ago. As it looks like, of course, City need to be more clinical in an attacking sense. They've actually had 10 shots, 2 on target, so it's not exactly like City are struggling to attack and get shots away. So maybe it's their defence that they should focus on, and that's what they are doing at the moment. They're going to make one half-time change, it seems, and it's going to be the number 6 to come on, Nathan Ake. And who he will replace will be interesting, because Gvardiol didn't have a great half, but Stones has just returned, and it will be John Stones to come off. Hopefully that's not an injury concern like he's injured again. That might just be to try and regain his match fitness. But then again, for the first goal, John Stones was at fault, really, letting Maddison run off behind him. So one change at half-time for City. John Stones off for Nathan Ake, who didn't play in the international break and was out between September and October with a hamstring injury. So it's not exactly like City have got many 100% fit centre-backs. And that is showing quite clearly and evidently. We are back underway, 15 seconds into the second half. City kicking off, kicking right to left. Spurs left to right towards their away supporters. And like I say, we're going to have a dramatic second half if this result is to spin on its head. As Savinho tackled and Spurs have it back. And they start again in their own half here with Ben Davies. Vicario on the edge of the box. Back out wide to Davies. Savinho will come across to press. Davies still has it. Lifts it down the line where it's Solanke to battle and to keep it. And he finds Son Heung-min, who will play it to Maddison on halfway. He's going to go for the switch, and it's a brilliant one. Kulusevski chests it down as well. Plays it into Sarr in the midfield. Plenty of time on the ball. It's with Basuma. Back into their own half here to Dragishin. It's now Davis. Going to go for the crossfield ball out to the right towards Kulusevski. He's been put into the space, and it can't be kept in by the number 21, Dejan Kulusevski, who scored twice in the international break against Azerbaijan. Like I say, he's scored here 3 games in a row in the Premier League at the Etihad Stadium. Kulusevski is having a brilliant season so far. Just the 2 league goals against United and West Ham. He's not scored in his last 3. But he's been playing usually in a more central area this season, Kulusevski. But tonight he's been asked to play out wide as Ake has it. Goes across here to Ederson in the 6-yard box. He clears it first time. It balloons up into the sky. It's going to be a free header for Porro, and he glances it backwards into his own half here to Dragishin. And Tottenham can start again on the ball in their own half with the goalkeeper, Vicario, who finds Basuma. It's the left centre-back, Davis, taking no risks, finding Vicario, who's making his 50th Premier League appearance tonight. And if he keeps a clean sheet, it'll be his 10th clean sheet in the competition. Had loads since his arrival from Empoli. The goalkeeper, Maddison, looks for Basuma, just about reaches him ahead of Haaland. Adogi, Son, first time ball towards Solanke, header won there by Ake, as far as Son. Back to Maddison, and the space out the right here, he's going to try and work it to Kulusevski, who can control it again on the halfway line. It goes back in here to Maddison, who's having a fantastic game. Take away his 2 goals, just his general play has been oozing confidence. Basuma, midway side zone half, goes back to Vicario. Bernardo Silva leading the press. Vicario plays it into Sarr. Just about works away from Lewis, and then Gundogan goes through Maddison. And it'll be a free kick for Tottenham. Gundogan not happy with the decision. Scored 5 times in his career against Tottenham. Gundogan, 4 of them at home, 1 of them away. Turned 34 this time last month. Ilkay Gundogan, as Maddison stays down here at the moment. Not featured for England since June 2024. Didn't quite make the Euro squad. Tottenham's number 10. Dragishin, long ball forward towards Solanke, headed forward by Akanji. Picked up by Bernardo Silva. Works it to the left there to Gvardiol. Back into Lewis. Forward to Foden. Now Gundogan still in the City half here, the Blues. And it's now out to the right to Walker. Back into the number 25 of Manuel Akanji, who was played once against Spurs before when he was at Dortmund in the 2018-2019 season. 29 years of age now, Akanji, brought for just £15 million from Dortmund. A rather steal from Manchester City. Did miss the penalty, though, in the Euro shootout for Switzerland against England. As Walker finds Haaland, lays it off quickly to Savinho. Gvardiol's free on the left. He'll eventually work it towards him, but the pass is well short and picked up by Porro instead, who will charge forward with it. Pedro Porro, plenty of room for him down this right-hand side. Kulusevski's almost in his way as Porro will go for the early cross to the far post, where it has gone to Son, who can keep it in on the far side. Again isolated with Walker, goes backwards here to Udogie. Then back once more to Maddison, inside to Basuma. Back out wide to Maddison. Spurs in control again of this game. They'll be 3 points off fourth with a win tonight. So despite starting the day in 11th position, they could find themselves knocking on the door of those top 4 places. As we're 5 minutes into the second half, still 2-0 to Tottenham, and they're the team on the ball at the moment. Sarr working its way to Davis, just. It's now forward to Maddison. Finds a Dogan halfway in space. Son, Maddison, runs into Akanji. No advantage, free kick for Spurs. Maddison, surely having one of his best appearances in a Spurs shirt. Won Player of the Month in the August of last season when he first joined the club. Like I say, struggled the last couple of weeks. Maddison, like I say, he had to come off the bench in the last 2 for Tottenham, and he came on quite late as well in those 2 previous games. Ball in behind for Solanke in the box. Ederson was out quickly to collect. Almost caught out there, Manchester City. As they try and go forward, Gundogan to the right here to Walker. It's now Bernardo Silva. Twisting and turning, keeping it away from Son Heung-min. It's now Gundogan on halfway. City barely had a sniff of goal so far as Lewis is fouled by Sarr. Just in front of the halfway line. Free kick for the home side, taken quickly by Rico Lewis to Ake. Now out to the left to Gvardiol. Not a lot of support for him here. It's Ake on halfway again, finding Lewis. Bit of time on the ball here as well for Rico Lewis. Finds Akanji. Gundogan to the right, it goes to Walker. Bit of space now. Runs into it. Into the Tottenham half. Goes into the middle here for Foden. First time ball looking for Bernardo Silva. Cut out by Davis, but straight back towards Foden. Who can't quite get there ahead of Kulusevski, who nutmegs Gundogan. And works it away from Walker. Son back through to Kulusevski. This is brilliant from Tottenham. Kulusevski running at Ake. He puts it across for Solanke. Angles tight. Porro's all alone. He lays it off to him. Pedro Porro slams it home for 3. This is the perfect Tottenham performance away at Manchester City. It does not get much better than this. Pedro Porro, against his former club, who he never made an appearance for, scores against them in their own backyard. And it's an evil counter-attack. It's just so deadly. It just seems like every pass Tottenham want to make, it comes off. And that was the epitome of it. Tottenham just in dreamland at the Etihad. Kulusevski started the move off, beating 3 Manchester City players. Beat Foden to the ball, nutmeg Gundogan, then out-muscled Walker. Completed a 1-2 there with Son. And then he put it across the box for Solanke, who got there ahead of Gvardiol, who was slow to get out to him. Porro entered the box all alone. And about 12 yards out on the angle, he whipped it to the far corner. Again, Ederson pretty helpless. He's not really had a chance with any of the 3 goals. And that Porro finish is brilliant. And Manchester City are getting schooled here, quite simply. And it looks like they will be heading for a 5th defeat in a row in all competitions. And as we're just about going to hit the 54th minute here, it's Manchester City 0, Spurs 3. And we're already back underway with Spurs on the ball with their goalkeeper Vicario. But I know it's a little bit almost cliche now. But it is so Spursy. Before this international break, they lost 2-1 to Ipswich at home. Now they're beating the champions of 4 in a row. 3-0 away. Rico Lewis goes in the book. Late challenge there on Maddison, who's ran the show this evening. Completely. He's been fantastic. Rico Lewis knew if he wasn't getting the ball, he was certainly getting the man there. Quite a deadly look in his eyes there, Rico Lewis. who's only won once against won once against Spurs in his previous 4 against them. And that was the home win 2 seasons ago. That was a comeback. Spurs were 2-0 up that day, but City turned it around to win 4-2. Again, another late challenge this time. Gavardio. On Porro. And Guardiola's got some thinking to do. He doesn't like playing Spurs. Pep Guardiola, in his previous 21 meetings with Tottenham, he's only won 10. He's lost 8. And it looks like he's going to lose 5 of the last 9 against them. Vicario clears long. Flicked on by Kulusevski. Akanji will beat Solanke to it. It's now Walker in the centre circle. Wants to go forward, but ends up going back to Ake. Akanji. Out wide right here to Bernardo Silva. Walker. Savinho. Can't keep it in. Thrown for Tottenham on halfway. As the rain pours, it almost reflects the Manchester City mood. Same old Manchester weather. This is Vicario on the edge of the 18-yard box. Goes to the right back here of Porro. Down the line for Kulusevski. Can't quite return it to Porro. He can, because Porro beats Ake to it. Against the odds as well. It's now Solanke being played through centrally. Can't quite outmuscle Akanji. Important defending there in the end by the Swiss international. As Bernardo Silva now breaks away on the right-hand side. Again, honestly, it seems like Tottenham are playing with an extra player. I know they're not, obviously, but that's how they're covering the pitch so well. Always seems like City have not got enough players around the man with the ball. Lewis, nicely threaded through ball for Gavardio, who put a low cross in towards Foden. Deflects away by Sarr. Played down the line by Porro. Cut out, though, by Ake ahead of Kulusevski. Gundogan. Tottenham's line is on the edge of the 18-yard box. It's Rico Lewis trying to unlock the Spurs defence. Still with the number 82. Plays it out wide to Savinho, who can control it well. Adogi's tight, though. Still with Savinho running across the box. Playing it for Lewis. Touch isn't great. Tackled by Kulusevski. Played now to Son. Adogi now overlaps and runs on. And he looks for him, but it's cut out by Walker instead on halfway. Bernardo Silva can't get away from Maddison. Great tackle. Cleanly got the ball. Maddison looking to go back, but Bernardo Silva wins it back, but the loose ball drops to Son instead, who then runs out of pitch on the far side. Throw in for Manchester City. A bit scrappy there from both. Akanji. It's now Rico Lewis again on halfway. Just over half an hour of the 90 to play. Bernardo Silva. More playing on that right side now in the second half. He's laid it off to Savinho in the final third. Back on the angle to Walker. The cross goes in straight off the chest of Basuma. Headed down by Adogi. Maddison trying to play it back to Basuma, who will get there. Has to chase it down. Keeps it in. And lifts it down the Tottenham left. And straight to Solanke. Stuck to him like glue, but tackled well there by Akanji. Gundogan pulled to the ground by Sarr. Free kick. About 5 yards in front of the centre circle. Gundogan quickly plays it out to the right here to Bernardo Silva. It's now Savinho. Back into Walker. Savinho again. Cutting in onto that left foot. Lifting it out wide to Gavardio in the area. Low ball in. And Ake. Shot towards goal. Comes off Dragishin. And it'll be a corner on the near side for City. Slightly better. They've not really done anything in the second half. Manchester City. Which is surprising despite being 3-0 down. Gundogan short to Lewis, who will cross the ball in himself. It's a good ball as well. It's a well-won header though by Davis. It's now Foden. Playing it out to the right to Savinho. On his left foot, digs across out. Header away again by Davis. Drops to Maddison in the left-back position. With his left foot, plays a ball down the line to Son. Poor ball, and it's fell to Haaland in the area. The angle's tight. Keeps away from Davis. He shoots Erling Haaland, and he hits the top of the bar. Sums up Manchester City's day. Did well to work a shot there, Haaland, because despite the ball being pretty much gifted to him by Son, the angle was tight, but he was able to get away from Davis, and I think he almost had a shot in frustration, Haaland, because he's had to feed off scraps, especially second half, but he's almost wrapped that top corner. Really unfortunate to hit the bar there, Erling Haaland, who has 3 and 4 against Spurs. Tottenham play from the back again. Davis, half an hour to go. Pass intercepted by Bernardo Silva, but drops to Udogie rather fortunately. Walker tackles the Italian, and Gundogan restarts with Ederson. And we have got half an hour now to go. Can City pull off a miraculous comeback at the Etihad? They've done it plenty of times before, but this will be one hell of a half an hour performance. Savinho running at Udogie, finds the ball through for Bernardo Silva, pulls it back. Gvardiol shoots, and it's blocked by Pedro Porro. About 12 yards out, right-footed strike from Gvardiol, who's been in the goals again this season. 3 in the league so far. But that time he was denied. Kanji in front of the centre circle. Lifts it out to the left to Gvardiol, well over his head. It's a throw-in for Spurs. Porro. It's now Basuma. Foul pulled back by Haaland. And the City frustration just continues to mount. Free kick taken down the Tottenham right. Solanke chases it. Gvardiol wins the header. And it's a Kanji to go back to Ederson. And Ederson just gets rid. Header down though to the right by Basuma to Porro. Maddison. Pass deflects off Foden. Free kick. As we're going to make a change here, Tottenham. And it's going to be Son Heung-min to come off. South Korean did score twice in the international break, and of course, representing South Korea, that's quite a bit of travel. And the captain will be replaced here by Brennan Johnson. Not a bad replacement, because Brennan Johnson's been in the goals this season. 7 in all competitions. And Son has certainly done his day's work. He's really caused issues for Kyle Walker all day, despite not registering, a goal. He came close in the first half, but he did assist the Maddison second. And Son is replaced by Johnson. Never scored in his previous 6 against City, the Welsh winger, who during the international break scored and assisted against Iceland. So Tottenham with their first change of the day. And they have it with Vicario on the edge of the box. Finds a pass towards Maddison. Keeps it away from Haaland. Bernardo Silva also chasing. Dragishin. High ball up towards the halfway line here. Header won by Ake. That's a brilliant header. Winning it on Solanke. And Rico Lewis. That's a great turn as well. City trying to shift up the gears if they can. Walker. To Savinho. On the far side. In the final third. Gundogan. Across to Ake on the left. Gvardiol inside to Lewis in a more central area. Works it to his midfield partner of Gundogan. Back out wide now to Walker. Ball in by Savinho. Chested by Gvardiol. Strike as well. And what seems like the 6th or 7th time City have had a shot fly over the crossbar. It's almost becoming a bit strange. How they're always going over the crossbar. City have had 2 shots on target all day. One from Haaland, which, to be fair, was a good save from Vicario with his feet. And Vicario to Dragishin, right centre back in the defensive third, down the line to Kulusevski, flicks it on once more, but it's gone out, and that'll be a throw-in for Manchester City. Gundogan with the ball at his feet. Gvardiol on the left wing. Manchester City have just not been able to get their creative players on the ball at all. Mainly Phil Foden, he's barely been involved. It's Bernardo Silva on the opposite flank. It's now Savinho turning away from Johnson. It's now Lewis. Gundogan out wide left to Gvardiol. It's a high ball, he can control it well. Forced to go back inside to Gundogan. Then a ball through for Lewis. That's a great touch on the edge of the area. Shoved to the ground by Dragusin. Not seen as a foul. And Tottenham can break with Solanke. Gets away from Akanji. Johnson's free on the left, but he's gone to Kulusevski instead on the right. Kulusevski in the box. On his right side. Onto his left. Shooting. Great save, Ederson. Got his left arm up to save it. That was almost 4. Kulusevski looking to score here for a 4th season in a row. But Ederson that time had a say. And the answer was no. And City try and go forward again. Gvardiol on this near side. Into Ake. Off the bench at half-time, replacing Stones. Gvardiol on the left-hand side again. Final third. Inside to Ake. There's just a lack of urgency from Manchester City. Needs to speed it up if they can. Bernardo Silva lays off for Walker, takes the touch, then crosses it in towards Haaland. Header won by Dragusin. Controlled by Ake on the edge of the area. Plays it through for Gvardiol. Running at Porro. Ball into Lewis. Gets the shot off towards goal and again flies over the crossbar. City certainly might need some shooting practice during the week. They do have a Champions League game though. Got to travel away to Feyenoord. On Tuesday. But again, just on the corner of the 6-yard box there, Kulusevski had the strike as he got onto his left foot. It's well saved by Ederson. He's only ever kept 4 clean sheets against Spurs in the previous 16, and obviously that's now going to be 4 in 17. I won't exactly say it was his fault today, the goals conceded. I think the defence in front of him have been pretty poor. Gundogan in the centre circle. Everyone behind the ball for Spurs. We've got a quarter of the game to go here. Lifted out to Savinho. City still not made an attacking change yet as Savinho tries to go around the outside of Udogie. And he can't. And he ends up tripping the Italian. It's going to be a free kick for Spurs. I mean, I know he's probably not 100% fit. But, you know, they've got De Bruyne. They've got Grealish. You know, even Amakiti might bring something different. I'm not sure. But they're certainly missing that man up in the box. And the man sat next to him, Rodri and Kovacic. You know, without Rodri, they just struggle badly. I mean, you know, that's why, you know, again, another argument for him being Ballon d'Or winner. But it is crazy how one player can have such an impact for a team like Manchester City who have so many high-quality players. And City regain on halfway here with Rico Lewis. Got to try and make something happen here if possible. There's no options to go forward. They're only being forced out wide here, City. Gvardiol in the final third. Lifts a ball in. Haaland gets up. And have a guess where that's gone. He's just had a header. Where's that gone? You know, I might not even tell you where it's gone. But it's not hit the target. I'll say that. It's not hit the target. It's gone over the bar again. Can't keep them down. Their shots today, Manchester City. I feel like every single one's going over the crossbar. Dragusin lifts it down the right. Just too much on it. Can't be kept in there by Sarr. Gvardiol takes a throw into the halfway line to Gundogan. The cross to his right to Ake. He'll bring it forward. Lays it off to Akanji, who just drifted into the midfield here. And again, makes the game go to walking pace. Gvardiol on the left. Akanji again. 40, 50 yards away from goal. City rarely look like scoring in this second half. Bernardo Silva again on the right wing. He's the furthest wide. And he plays a pass back towards Ake. It's gone behind him. And he'll have to get there quickly here. As Ake has had to go backwards to Ederson. And Tottenham push up right up to the halfway line. Edison tries to fire it out to the left to Gvardiol, and he chests it down. I do think he's onside there, Gvardiol, just. Rico Lewis to Gundogan in the centre circle once again. Forward to Lewis. Now with Akanji. Just flooding the central areas, Spurs. And like I say, only making City go out wide, and they're not exactly creating anything from those wide areas, the home side. Akanji to Ake. Walker. Savinho again. Back inside to Gundogan. Well away from the 18-yard box at the moment here. As Gundogan tries to do something to get this game going. Because of course Spurs can defend and protect what they've got. Switch ball out to Gvardiol. Finds Akanji on the edge of the box. Works it towards Foden. Keeps it alive. Ake keeps it moving. Walker. Into Bernardo Silva. One-on-one with Brennan Johnson. Kicks it away from him, and that'll be a corner kick for City on the far side. Good defending there by Brennan Johnson. It's going to be taken by Foden. In it goes, and straight into the hands of Vicario. Probably is the easiest catch he'll have all day. And he rolls it out to the right back, Porro. And he tries to send it in behind for Kulusevski. That's a great ball. No, it's not. The bounce has just gone wide and out for a throw-in. They look like good ballers. With less than 20 to go, City are going to bring on Kevin De Bruyne soon. Not yet, because they've already taken the throw-in. Rico Lewis to Gundogan. Rico Lewis again, tripped by Basuma. Free kick for Manchester City on the halfway line, already taken. It's now Akanji out wide here to Gvardiol, who's always got time and space on this left-hand side. Gets it into the middle to Gundogan. Foden. Surrounded by Tottenham shirts, but he works away some space and gets a shot towards goal. Very timid. Easy save down low to Vicario's left there. Not quite good enough from Phil Foden, who scored twice against Spurs. His first ever Premier League goal was against Spurs. He's gone on to score 53 more. And that first Premier League goal against Spurs for Foden was in April 2019. You might remember that game. It was literally the weekend after Tottenham knocked out Manchester City of the Champions League quarter-final. Back in the 18-19 season. Savinho driving inside. Can't find a blue shirt though with the pass. Sarr gets it instead. Brennan Johnson, good slide tackle from Akanji, but it can't be kept in. And that'll be a throw-in for Tottenham, and I am going to assume here now City will make their change to bring on Kevin De Bruyne and Jack Grealish. Again, you've got to question how fit these two are, but you would want to believe that they could have made these changes a little bit sooner. So it'll be Savinho to come off, still not scored yet in a City shirt. The Brazilian, he'll be replaced by Kevin De Bruyne. And Rico Lewis has also come off. Very difficult game for Rico Lewis and Ilkay Gundogan. They've not had a lot of space to work with in that middle area of the pitch. And Rico Lewis comes off for Jack Grealish. And for Jack Grealish, he's missed the last 6 games for City. And didn't feature for England despite being called up. He was then sent home almost immediately as he wasn't fit enough. Can those two make a difference? We'll have to wait and see. As we've got 16 minutes of the 90 to go, plus any added on time. De Bruyne already found down the right-hand side for City. We know he can unlock defences. He's done it plenty of times in his career. It's Bernardo Silva. Finds De Bruyne again. 1-2 with him. And he gets away from Davis. Brilliant play. Bernardo Silva in the box. Good header away by Porro. It was going towards Haaland. But straight away there, De Bruyne lifting the game. Lifting Manchester City's quality. Walker, got to get the cross in here. Oh, maybe not. That's maybe one of the worst crosses I've seen for a while. Over the crossbar again, of course, because everything Manchester City's doing tonight is going over the crossbar. But that is not a great cross from Kyle Walker, whose last goal for City was 1,128 days ago. He last scored in a 5-1 away win in the Champions League against Club Brugge on the 19th of October 2021. So I don't think they'll be looking at him for goals at this moment in time. De Bruyne on the right side, can't get the pass away, comes off Basuma but drops to Gundogan, who keeps it away from Maddison. A lot of work here for City to do. Bernardo Silva. Cross goes in and caught by Vicario again, who quickly throws it out. Not in a mood to hold it around here, Vicario. Kulusevski holds it up. Goes back to Porro into the middle here to Sarr. Finds Maddison. It's now to Ben Davies just in front of the 18-yard box. Plays it out wide to Brennan Johnson. Inside to Udogie. Towards Brennan Johnson again, but taken away from him by Bernardo Silva. Now De Bruyne in the final third. Cross has got to be right. Comes off Davies' leg. But it's still with De Bruyne as it bounces back towards him. De Bruyne slips it through for Gundogan. Flag stays down for now, but the shot straight at Vicario. And the flag has remained down. Big chance for City. Vicario is certain he was offside. De Bruyne with a ball, and I think he's on. Angle was rather tight. Could have Gundogan maybe pulled it back for Haaland, maybe. But it's a shot on target. It's not a shot over the bar for Manchester City, which is a change in this game. De Bruyne with the out-swinging ball in. Header away by Basuma. Pretty free header as well there, really, for Tottenham's number 8. Walker keeps it alive. Gundogan sends it back out wide to De Bruyne. On that right foot. Shifts it onto his left. Then floats the ball in. Headed down by Bernardo Silva. Foden goes for the shot. Comes off Dragishin. And Akanji fouls Johnson on the edge of the box. And that'll be a free kick for Spurs. And they survive another scare from Manchester City. This will just be Spurs' third clean sheet of the season. They kept a clean sheet at home to Everton and away against Manchester City. A bit of a toe poke there from Gundogan, straight off the chest of Vicario. Maddison, cynically brought down there by Bernardo Silva. Maddison not happy. Yellow card for the Portuguese international. Bit of frustration there from Bernardo Silva. Yeah, absolutely booting Maddison's foot there with the slide tackle. Very malicious foul there from Bernardo Silva. A very clear yellow card for the Spaniard. It's 12 left of the 90. It's still 3-0 to Spurs. It's honestly been one of the most perfect away performances you'll see at the Etihad. As Walker clears away for City. Played forward by Basuma. Header won there by Gundogan. It's Foden forward to De Bruyne. Tackled by Basuma. That's a great tackle on halfway. And Spurs have got it back in their own half with Radu Dragishin. Played every minute of the Euros for Romania. Bar the last 16 game when they were knocked out by the Netherlands. He was out, unfortunately, for that one. And he's just cleared that out of play. City have a throw in and they've worked it back to the halfway line. To Nathan Ake, who was a half-time substitute from Pep Guardiola. Now Gundogan finds Akanji just in front of the centre circle. Again, they're going to play it out wide, but that's what Spurs want. They want City to go out wide because they are flooding the central area of this pitch. De Bruyne. Ball in towards Haaland, cut out by Basuma. It's a bit short. Haaland keeps it alive and gets it back from Akanji. It's De Bruyne. Back through for Haaland. Brilliant football. Erling Haaland saved by Vicario. De Bruyne on the rebound. Kicks right through Basuma. Or Sarr. Who is it? Oh, bit of handbags afterwards. Bit of pushing and shoving. Vicario, though, with 2 big saves in a matter of minutes there. One on Gundogan, then one on Haaland, who probably thought he was going to score there. And then, as De Bruyne is trying to finish the rebound, he's kicked right through Sarr. And in fairness, De Bruyne is going to kick the ball there, and he's just kicked the man. It's not like he knew he wasn't getting the ball, so he just thought, let me just boot the player. It was a genuine attempt to play the ball by De Bruyne. Oh, and he's going to be booked. Wow. But in fairness, he might be booked for the aftermath. I'm not quite sure what happened because they were showing Vicario then. But I could just see a bit of pushing and shoving going on in the background. Well, they've both been booked, so it must have been for the aftermath of it, of the pushing and the shoving. As we've just hit the minute 80, 10 minutes to go, pulse added on time. And it does look like Spurs are going to walk away with 3 points here. Good 1-2 there with De Bruyne and Haaland. Again, angle's tight for Haaland, but that's a great save with his right hand by Vicario. Like I say, De Bruyne tried to help Sarr up. Sarr didn't want the helping hand, and yeah, it all just got a little bit ugly for a couple of seconds. But yeah, don't know what I'm trying to say there. It faded pretty quick. It's a great save from Vicario. Like I say, Haaland's about 6 yards out, but the angle is tight. He's trying to go across goal, and with his right hand, Vicario's just been able to save it. It's really good. So we're back underway. Akanji running into a bit of danger there. Maddison's with the ball. Tackled though by De Bruyne. It's now Gundogan into De Bruyne. Left the ball behind him. Took off him by Brennan Johnson, who goes back to Vicario. Not going to mess around that time. Just gets rid. And Walker heads it inside straight to Solanke. Now Maddison. Cut past Gundogan like he wasn't there on the halfway line. And tries to play it through for Kulusevski. That's really good defensive work though by substitute Jack Grealish. It's now a Walker. No real options for him though. City are struggling badly. They struggled all day. They had a really good 10 minutes. Manchester City. But bar that, they've been really poor. Especially their shooting. Like I said, I think they've had about 18 shots and probably about 4 or 5 on target. Akanji lifts it out to the right here to De Bruyne. Chests it down, sticks to him. And he plays it back here to Walker. Midway inside the Spurs half. De Bruyne into Akanji. Just a bit more urgency since De Bruyne has come on, and you'd expect that. Grealish on the left. Shifting it to his right to Gvardiol. Twisting away from Kulusevski. Playing it back to Gundogan, then to the right to Ake. Clips it to Bernardo Silva on the right. Brings it down well. Onto his left foot. Crosses in. Header into the air by Sarr. Gundogan goes for it. Drops to Gvardiol. It's now with Grealish, who's tackled by Sarr. It's now worked to Porro on the corner flag. Sarr again. Gives it away though. Foden. Finds Grealish. Onto that right foot. Squares it. Akanji goes for the shot, which deflects off Maddison, and that'll be a corner on that far side for Manchester City. 7 minutes plus added on time. Still 3-0 to Spurs. Taken quickly though. De Bruyne gets away from Johnson and Maddison, and the shot's blocked in the end. I think Porro was the one to get in the way. It's Walker quickly down the line here to Grealish. Going to run at Kulusevski. He's in the box. He's gone on the outside. Dinks it to the far post. Bernardo Silva with a volley. And I am positive Manchester City are playing rugby today. Again, high over the bar. A lot of these chances, by the way, they're not just slightly over the bar. They are high over the bar. And that's the same. And Bernardo Silva, he's all alone. He could have brought it down. He had loads more time than he thought. And those Tottenham Hotspur supporters in that away end are thoroughly enjoying themselves. It's an 8-hour round trip on the roads. And on those coaches' home, they will be absolutely delighted. With Gundogan now turning away from Sarr. Advantage played as he was brought down. And I think Akanji touched the ball with his hand, thinking he was taking a quick free kick. And it's been pulled back because he took it well away from where the foul happened. Taken though by De Bruyne now to Grealish. Back underway. De Bruyne. Gvardiol. Is he onside? He's been able to turn and shoot. And again, over the crossbar. It's ridiculous. I've never seen anything like it. I think I've only clocked it because I'm commentating, so I'm saying it a lot. I'm saying over the bar a lot. If I was probably just watching it generally, I probably wouldn't notice how many shots over the bar City have had. But when you keep having to repeat the same thing, you just clock on. I keep saying it. So Vicario sends the free kick long as it was an offside given. Ake heads away, headed back forward by Sarr, straight to Gundogan. It's now laid off to Akanji. Then to the right to Bernardo Silva. Back it goes to Walker. 5 minutes left of the game. Ake on the halfway line, struggling for options. It's always out wide. And he's got it into space this time out wide to De Bruyne. That's a good ball. That's better. That's positive. De Bruyne's cross comes off the back of the leg of Udogie. It's now with Walker. Plays it inside here to Bernardo Silva, who will put a cross in towards Grealish at the far post. And Jack can keep it in. No, he can't keep it in. It's gone out of play. Goal kick. So it looks like Manchester. This is the first time Guardiola's ever lost 4 games in a row in his career, excluding penalty shootouts. This is 5. This is unmatched territory. That ball's not fully gone out as well. Hard to see, but that ball definitely didn't fully go out. Some of it was. But the last time Manchester City finished outside the top 4 was the 09-10 season. And not for 1 second am I saying City are not going to finish in the top 4, but this is kind of form that you get when you. This is the old form of City when you are in those positions. This is unheard of. And you know what? And the thing is with this run from Manchester City, they're not even drawing games. They're just outright losing. You know, it's not like, you know, they're kind of picking up points here and there as Udogie goes down, holding the back of his right leg after poking a ball out for a corner as he was running there with Kyle Walker. But I think the theme as well for a lot of these City defeats, they've started decently well in quite a lot of them. They had a good first half an hour against Sporting. They had a good 10 minutes here against Tottenham. They took the lead and played well against Brighton. I think the only game where they didn't really play well at all in any of it, mainly, was Bournemouth away. It was only at the end where they started to pick it up a little bit more. De Bruyne into the near post from the corner, headed away by Porro, put into the air by Foden. It'll be Kulusevski to get there first now, ahead of him. Kulusevski turning away from Foden as well. That is brilliant from Kulusevski. He is a man full of confidence. Plays it to Johnson, who will be offside, surely. Johnson, tight angle, he's at the post. And the flag has gone up, but advantage will be played because City have the ball moving. Yeah, Brennan Johnson looked well offside there, despite hitting the post. Foden needs to play. Plays it out wide right now to Bernardo Silva. Running forward, finding De Bruyne. Tries to play back through for Silva. Can't quite do so. Tackle by Brennan Johnson. It's now Bernardo Silva to win it back. De Bruyne. Across to Gundogan. Flicked on once more towards Grealish. Cleared by Porro. This is worrying. This is concerning for Manchester City because I don't know where they go from this. Missing Rodri. Kovacic also out as well. Diaz not back yet. As it's going to be Tottenham to make some late changes here. One of them is going to be Timo Werner to replace the birthday boy, James Maddison, who gives the captain's armband over to Vicario. So Maddison goes off here for Timo Werner, who scored in the League Cup against them. Well, Maddison with 2. He got the opening 2 in the first half. Both left-footed finishes and both brilliantly taken as well. And this is the first time City have ever gone 3-0 down in a home game under Pep Guardiola in the Premier League. Shows how bleak this is all getting for Manchester City. So Maddison off for Werner. There's 3 changes, in fact. With a minute left of the 90. Sarr off for Lucas Burival, the Swede, who's getting his first minutes after not playing any of the last 6, after playing none of the last 5 in the league. And the second change, we'll see Udogie off for Jed Spence, who signed a new contract at Spurs till 2028. He signed that contract in this year of October of this year. Back underway. Bernardo Silva kicking the ball off Jed Spence. Throwing in the final third for City, as we're going to find out added on time very shortly. Throwing taken. It's thrown all the way back by Walker to De Bruyne. Now played across the pitch here, looking for Gavardio. It's now with Ake in the centre circle. Back to the right to De Bruyne with it, minute 90. Can't imagine there'd be loads added on. Yeah, 4 minutes added on. Can City at least get a consolation in this game? Grealish on the left side now. Goes into the centre circle now to De Bruyne. Out wide to Bernardo Silva. They played right into Spurs' hands today. City as De Bruyne's ball in. It's sent over the bar by Dragishin. It was almost going to be quite an easy finish for Haaland if he didn't get in the way. That's good defending by the former Genoa centre-back. Corner taken. De Bruyne trying the 1-2 with Bernardo Silva. And that sums it up. Straight out of play for a goal kick. Goal kick taken by Vicario. Header won by Ake. Haaland loses out to Dragishin. Berdival, the substitute, pulled back by Akanji. And that'll be a yellow card for the number 25. A little bit of a cameo for Lucas Berdival. And signed this summer from Djurgården for £8.5 million. Came off the bench for Sweden in the international break against Azerbaijan. 2 minutes, just over 2 minutes left of the 4 added on. And it's just Tottenham through and through. Lose to Ipswich at home and then beat Manchester City away. It's going to be 2 wins in a row as well against Manchester City as they beat them in the League Cup last 16. Just over 3 weeks ago. Grealish on halfway. Getting away from Porro and playing it across the pitch and no one's there. Straight through for Werner. Could Tottenham make it 4? Werner sprinting away from Walker. Chance. Ball squared. Brennan Johnson taps it home and it's 4 for Spurs. They are in complete dreamland. 2 of the substitutes linking up together to put one huge nail in this Manchester City coffin. Brennan Johnson is having the season of his life so far. 8 now in all competitions. This is unprecedented stuff for Manchester City in the Pep Guardiola era. And if you want to beat Manchester City at the Etihad, this is exactly how you do it. And all of these 4 Spurs goals have been fantastically worked. That time, it's another bad giveaway. Grealish this time, straight to Werner, who just seems so much quicker than Walker. Of course, he's a lot fresher because Werner's just come on. He took it down the line, played it across the goal. And Johnson, from a yard out, got there ahead of Nathan Ake. And he was just simply not going to miss there, the Welsh international, who scores his first ever goal against Manchester City. And this has been an Ange Postecoglou masterclass. And Pep Guardiola has got serious problems that need solving sooner rather than later. It's City 0, Spurs 4. We've played the 4 minutes added on. And what a result this is. Grealish on the left wing in the final third as the empty seats cover the Etihad. De Bruyne gives it away to Porro on the edge of the box. Porro to Berdival. Leaves it for Kulusevski. Berdival again. Porro down the line for Kulusevski. Comes off his back. Drops to Gavardiol. And John Brooks blows the full-time whistle. It finishes Tottenham Hotspur with 3 points. City 0, Spurs 4. And that is a beating that Manchester City don't suffer very often. City aren't just losing games now, they're conceding a heavy amount of goals. And this time, Tottenham have took full advantage. They are now just 3 points off top 4, Tottenham. So despite having a pretty inconsistent start to the campaign, they are finding themselves towards those European spots. And for City, it's 5 losses in a row. Serious problems at City. A new contract for Pep Guardiola clearly didn't lift a thing. Like I said, the first 10 minutes, City were good. City were really good. But Spurs scored that first goal in the 13th minute. And from then, it was a 10 out of 10 inch-perfect performance. And they could have deserved to have won that by 5 or 6. Never looked like conceding. City couldn't shoot at all today. So many of their shots went over the crossbar. And City lose a 5th game in a row, and Spurs have won their first away game in all competitions since the 3rd of October. But that will be the end of the live commentary. Hope you did enjoy. Make sure you like and subscribe if you have not already. Manchester City return from the international break, and it's more of the same. It's more losing, it's more defeats. It's 5 in a row now in all competitions. Manchester City have not won now for a month. But for Spurs, despite losing the last game before the international break to Ipswich at home, they have bounced back with an almighty win away at Manchester City. It finishes here at the Etihad. Manchester City 0, Tottenham Hotspur 4.